down to 5 seconds, and they're blitzing, and here we go.
Another Kertz. Firouzja sticking with his choice. Why not? His day is going great. Ooh, ooh.
Whoa.
And this is actually what people get for not playing d4 against him. This is the first time he is seeing the move d4. And apparently it was d6 all along, but people didn't know. So people were playing kind of normal Karakans against him.
I still can't believe it. I'm looking at this and I'm reminded of, I was in Linares, and the FIDE president, Florencio Campomanes, had visited the media center, and he was playing blitz chess. He played c6, followed it up with d6 and queen c7 as Alireza. And I said to Campo, what are you doing? What is this? And he looks at me and he says, Yasser, I call this the Campo Con. The Campo Con. Too good. The Campo Con with Bishop G. By the way, if you're a Philidor player, which is e5 and d6 on move 2, this is actually a very reasonable Philidor. Yes. Nothing wrong. And look, we see this move Bishop c4 to e2 as an indication that Nodirbek is not advantage. No advantage here. Castle short.
Checking the database. There's just 3 games in this position played.
I'm surprised that
they might transpose into some kind of Philidor after castle.
Okay, and then suddenly, whoosh, you got an explosion. And Danican Philidor, 17th century player.
Should black take on d4 to get some space for his pieces?
Usually you play rook e8 in these positions because, yes, and in fact, you're holding that move, taking on d4 in reserve. You're kind of thinking to yourself, you know, let me tickle and put a little pressure. The move a5 is useful. Many times, yes, don't get me wrong, but there is a capture on d4 and a capture on a7. Thanks to the a5 pawn.
What if now white plays d5 and closes up the position? I have the space advantage and I want to cram black pieces as much as I can.
Okay, good question for you. If you play d5 and I capture on d5, how would you like to recapture?
And he's played d5. I'll
with
take
the pawn, I think.
With the pawn.
So, and then you go knight d2, knight c4. They sometimes do this.
But don't you think of that as a Sveshnikov?
It's a neither more than a Sveshnikov. And with the pawn on a5, not such a horrible one either.
Okay, we do have a6. By black, Alireza wasn't interested in seeing white play moves like a5, a6, and knight b5, so he's played a6. And Peter, you were about to say knight to d2 to c4?
Yeah, knight d2, rook a4 becomes a kind of a topical idea very often. Try to support the...
Nice lift.
Yeah, he starts with knight a4, which is very ambitious, not only aiming at the b6 square. The dream for white, of course, would be to somehow get to play c4 and b4. Currently, c4, black will have bishop takes f3 in response, and you cannot recapture with the bishop because the pawn will hang. And this is what Alireza immediately kind of points out to his opponent by attacking the pawn on c2 and saying, what do you do? And you can't play rook c1 either.
Right, because a5 would hang then.
Right.
So you're now forced to make a slightly awkward move, c3.
Okay, but in this position, I need to play f5, right?
You would like to, yeah.
Except
you would like
we don't have a square for the
it's
knight.
not permitted.
Not a good one, at least.
You can play knight e4. It looks kind of artificial, but very often I think this move it actually does make sense.
Knight
Just
to
mechanically
e4.
freeing up the f7 pawn to play f5 next move, pretty much against anything.
I've seen Magnus playing these positions as black, and he states it very matter-of-factly. You're going to make great progress on the queen side, but if I mate you...
It won't matter, right?
It won't matter what...
Well, we have very different development. Black pushed e4.
And again, Alireza is looking for that opportunity, playing f5, knight e5. Yes, I understand. You get a big square on the queen side, you make inroads.
It's interesting that the engine actually says this is a mistake.
Knight g4 is a mistake.
I'm assuming because of some tactical... If you play f5 here, you get hit by knight g3, but maybe it was even something like an immediate knight g3.
Now e3 is a little bit tempting.
Yeah, well, the desirable f5 was very less desirable when I saw the knight to come to f4 and to e6. So he has played bishop f6. And you mentioned there's something to consider, e6.
I think knight on a4 is
E3,
just now
sorry.
out of play because it's not going to do much on b6.
Mm-hmm.
And the game has switched towards the king side and center, and white pieces are not prepared for it.
Which is what it's all about as far as black is concerned. Yes, indeed, black would love to land with his queen on h4. It would mean maybe going to d8, trading on d4, and getting your queen to h4. But it's definitely student body king side. Let's go over there. By the way, queen takes a5 has never been menaced with the bishops on the board, because you always have knight b6. If you do trade on f6, it's something I would pay attention to, that queen takes a5 is suddenly
it would be
legal and good. Yeah. Clock times, is it a factor?
2 minutes for Nodirbek, 3.5 for Alireza. And right now, I don't see an easy move for white.
You know, I just look at the camera screens of the players and I just find it so hard to read the clock. I was hoping you would say, I can barely see the players. But reading the clock is awkward for me.
No problem. Can white play just h3? Yeah, I was going to say, just
Good.
ask the question, what are you going to do? Take
All
on
right.
d4 first, or are you going to move the knight? Alireza
I would
took.
take on d4.
Knight
Just,
f6.
I feel like I've got a little bit of a traffic jam kind of problem with my pieces, and I need space.
Absolutely.
I'm cramped, so I need to. Ooh.
Pawn was hanging now on a5.
d4.
So-
But that invites. I want to say, can I go pawn hunting with queens? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, on queen c4, there's rook c1.
Indeed.
Nice tactic.
I was thinking he was going to play queen to c4 first, followed by rook to d5. But now c4, queen takes, and rook to c1, as you mentioned. And oops,
Win the rook.
that's a skewer.
So I think Alireza just has to switch fully on the king side, right?
h5, let's go.
Or rook e8 or something like that.
Doesn't seem
Knight
fast
e3.
enough anymore. I think, yeah, I'm starting to like white there quite a bit. My question would be, can we play e3?
Yes.
Trying to get the rook to e4 and take on c4 with the rook. And I suspect the best reply might be f3. And in the Blitz game, including e3, f3,
Yeah.
is something you definitely want to do, because it's a very good kind of an investment for the future when both of you have 3 seconds and you have not to not blunder this pawn queening.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I feel like the clock times are getting key now.
Alireza is still ahead by 30 seconds. But as soon as players go down to 1 minute, I feel like position doesn't matter as much.
I want to say, somewhat surprisingly to my eyes at least, Nodirbek hasn't really been that quick in this tournament. He's already had a couple of games where I think he lost on time in one, and he barely avoided losing on time in at least another one.
In his game with Fabi, clock was decisive.
Time management does seem to be a bit of a challenge.
An issue. Once again, somehow liberating the back rank with h5, prepping a potential queen takes c4 exchange sacrifice. I understand what you're saying, Peter. Pawn to e3, f3, and you're just happy to make that inclusion. Rook to g5.
He's gone rook g5, knight e5. He's actually going all out for a mating attack of some kind. Knight f3 is a big threat.
So what if I go just king h1?
I think you have
That's a good move.
I think you have to, or queen e3 first. I'm not sure which one is stronger. Yeah, I guess h6 or rook g6. Knight b6 will get included, and c5 next move pretty much. So white has and he chooses to spend a tempo on king h1. Probably a wise choice.
And by the way, this knight on b6 suddenly kind of
Takes away so
froze.
many good squares from the queen. Yeah, the queen kind of needs to be on f5.
I think king h1 was maybe a bit slow because now knight d3 and pawn on b4 is hanging.
Okay, just a reminder that you're not just going to sit there and wait
So
for
now c5 is harder to play without rook on c1.
knight to d7 again. He's trying to finagle his queen. Whoa.
I like this, yeah.
You do. I would almost never want to touch the king side. I'd like to keep it frozen, but you like that for why?
I think it takes away some good squares. It also makes it, I think, actually easier to protect the king side, because when you have access to better squares.
So right now pawn on c4 is hanging though. How do we defend it?
Right.
We have to take on d7, I think, just to get the queen away.
It's going f5, rook g5.
I mean,
We
this.
can take and go f6.
So
We
now
can take
white's-
and go knight d4. I guess takes f6 is my immediate preference.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
all of a
I
sudden
mean,
white's attacking on the king's side.
no. I would be loath. I would be thinking that things could really go
Going
wrong.
for f6.
Oh my gosh! Rook to e5, rook to f5.
Whoa, that's a
G6. Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that move
That's a move
either.
of a
Can't
brave
predict
person.
any of these moves.
That's a move of a very brave person.
Knight to f4.
Yeah, this is now becoming very, very unclear. After f6, after f6 in particular, I think white is maybe assuming some sort of control.
In an update in a different game, Hikaru won his game against Linear.
Well, finally kind of righting the ship a little bit. Okay, so if knight e5, no, what am I saying? That's just not what I wanted.
So we have to give up the pawn, allow knight d3.
Knight takes f4, king h7.
Rook
I'm not
f4,
sure.
k4.
Yeah, I was going to trade rooks and maybe play rook to e5 and try to make some kind of pretension that I am pretending.
Yeah, white's looking really good, and Alireza down to 17 seconds.
I just didn't like the move g6. That pawn on f6
Ooh,
is...
he played knight e5, allowed just queen e4.
Okay, so he purposefully sacrificed the pawn, hoping or banking on the fact that there are some weaknesses and maybe on a very,
He's
very
trying to
good
take
day.
away the pawn on f6. I think the pawn on f6, in particular when you're playing on 5 seconds, is something you want to
Get rid of.
get rid of as soon as possible so that you don't blunder mate somewhere.
Knight to d3.
Yeah. And Nodirbek says, I would like to keep it if at all possible. Knight f3,
Ooh, knight f3 tactic.
h5.
There is a
Knight g2 next move.
sighting, right?
Yeah, this is
This is
swinging very
suddenly-
much in Alireza's favor.
Whoa. Because
Things will now be hanging a great deal.
Okay.
I feel like there
check
should
on
be
the-
some
Takes
tactics
queen
here.
f1. No, we can take with the queen because we are probably getting enough
Oh,
play on the other
checkmate,
side of the
yeah.
board. Knight e4 is very strong though. We can play queen e3. Knight f2
Knight
doesn't
f6.
work. Yeah,
F6.
that was missed. You should have played queen f3. I think on both of the previous moves.
Clock times, sorry.
5 sequence for both.
Oh
so
my
they're
gosh, well,
just-
this is just...
Why is the queen not going to f3?
Yeah. That
Queen
is a
d1?
very, very good question. Whoa, queen takes h4, queen takes b4.
Knight f3, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe even queen takes f6 and offer a draw of sorts, you know. But these players are not in the business of offering
Maximalist.
draw.
No,
yeah,
no,
king
no.
g7 now.
Well, something like queen b1 check and knight e4? No, he didn't play it.
Who's
goes
playing
back.
for a win?
I have no idea.
Whoever has the more time, I think, is playing for a win.
And they have
but
equal time.
nobody has more time.
Yeah.
Who has...
Now white, I think, is playing for a win because white has
White looks
more,
safer.
by far the more space.
Well,
Not
I'm
anymore.
not
yeah.
sure.
Not
I'm still confused.
It changes
Who's
every
playing?
second. Knight's
And the
back
knight is
e4.
beautiful on e4. What a...
The queen has
and
gotten
even
locked
more
out,
beautiful
but
on
it's maybe
c5.
still okay.
Is it time for a king walk? I
King
guess
where?
not. I don't know where to walk, but I was wondering if it was... Oh,
h4.
this is not just nerves. This is also instincts. Like, who has the better instincts?
3 seconds for Alireza.
Yeah.
Very
Here.
easy to blunder here. So both players are kind of repeating moves.
Right? But again, the maximalist in Nodirbek, as he's playing also for the win.
They're both playing for a win.
Exactly. They certainly are.
Knight. Ooh,
Oh,
I
queen
like
e3
knight
check.
on g4.
On
Landing with a bang.
bang, bang.
This is scary now for white.
And here you hear the sounds of the ticking clock.
At the same
King
time.
f2 has to be played. Or queen
Uh-oh, knight g4 check. Knight
F4?
e4. Oh, f4.
f4 was very
I
strong.
think he
but this is
missed
also
f4.
pretty strong, yeah.
4
And
seconds.
black has to be close to winning now.
Agreed.
Or-
Queen takes c4.
Oh, very nice.
Oh,
Black
and
wins
that's it.
Black wins 2 pawns.
2 pawns.
And it's a knight endgame, so
Yeah, knight
he needs
b3,
to move the... Yes, his knight's not trapped.
knight to c4.
Knight b7, I guess, yeah, to
Let's
get it
stop
over to
knight
c5 and stop knight c7.
Good point. Beautiful move indeed.
a5.
A5
Yeah, we can
and
start
run.
pushing now, yeah, we don't need to. worry about too many things anymore. No
E5.
passer on the other side. We can go knight c5 next move if we need to.
I think we need to.
Knight c6 though? Ah,
B3.
b3 and then a4, yeah? King e7?
B3, let's go.
Yeah, Firja
Yeah, we
is
can just
showing,
we can just start offering pawn endings.
he's
That's
showing
for
great
sure.
technique in this endgame, and
King d7. It doesn't really matter, but
Knight check.
knight
B2.
check, b2, a3. We can probably just kind of promote them now.
Yes, now they just run on their own.
update in a different game. Livon did win his game.
Bravo, Levon. Knight C1 check.
2 seconds for
Knight c1,
Nodirbek.
knight b3, or
Yes, precisely. That was
no,
what I was
that
thinking.
would be running into knight c4. But this is now game over. Yeah, now nothing moves. Now you can more or less ignore everything. Knight takes g2. Very,
Yes.
Yes.
very beautiful.
Yes.
Showing a lot of tactical
Style.
awareness. Yeah.
Style points.
nice finish indeed, and he flagged also. And we have still one game
Alireza.
going on.
Impressing.
Nepo against Fabi still playing.
Let's jump there as we see
Oh, it's over.
Nepo, 1 against Fabi, as our grand.